Bitter criticism, Saturday night. No, it's Friday night. You know, there's this feeling. This is not sociology, but it's just a feeling. A feeling about. There's nothing. Today's it's Friday, but feels like a Monday week. How's that? Because this is just the first week. We still didn't had a Monday this year, understand? We still don't have a Monday this year. And still don't have a Monday this we still didn't had a Monday this year, so these weeks feels like today doesn't feel like Friday. That's what I want to say. Just 1 second. Just one more second. Calm. So now I'm going to read. I don't know. I'm going to read. I guess I will read some from Russia Today and TASS. Russia Today and TASS. And says there's a news on Russia Today that says Bernie Sanders confronts Musk on Indian immigrants. But I guess this, yeah. Let's read what Russia Today, what the Russians think about Bernie Sanders. Because Bernie Sanders, Pepe Escobar said, Bernie Sanders is Atlanticist too. At Bernie Sanders. But it's too hard, you know. Personally, I don't love Bernie Sanders. He's pretty interesting because he has a socialist discourse, a socialist, a socialist narrative. But I'm not a fan of of him. Yeah, why not? Well, Pepe Escobar says Bernie Sanders, he is Atlanticist. But anyway, what that mean? What that means? In my opinion, Bernie Sanders, as everybody, he just wants to survive, just want to keep alive. Don't confronting what he cannot abolish. Don't buying threats too big for him. Anyway, January 3rd, I guess this is today, yeah. January 3rd, 2025. Sounds normal. 2025 sounds normal to me. Home World News. Bernie Sanders confronts Musk on Indian immigrants. The U.S. Senator slammed the tycoon over his defense of H-1B visas, arguing they help replace Americans with low-wage foreign workers. And there's a photograph, file photo, Bernie Sanders. US Senator Bernie Sanders has taken a swipe at Elon Musk over his defense of the H-1B immigration program, arguing that it only helps enrich billionaires who rely on cheap foreign labor while undermining ordinary Americans. The H-1B visa program allows U.S. companies to deploy foreign workers in fields requiring advanced skills in fields such as technology, engineering. Oh, I guess it's my boy there. I'm not sure. Can be my boy, yeah. Just 1 second. I mean my bird. There's a spectacular bird is right in front of me. I guess it's that bird. Tommy. Of course, can be another one, but I guess this is my bird. And go away. Yeah, no spectacle today. This bird makes a spectacle. Mursi. Ven, Mursi, venga. Mursi want her to treat her hair, her fur. But I just did it. But I guess relax her. That's relax her. Anyway, Tommy, por acá, mira. Tommy. Pasa. So, let's read whatever from Bernie Sanders. The H-1B visa program allows U.S. companies to deploy foreign workers in fields requiring advanced skills in fields such as technology, engineering, and medicine. It has been described as the only significant channel for foreign graduates to enter the U.S. workforce in fields requiring, with the vast majority of approved petitions on going to Indian nationals in recent years. Both Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who U.S. President-elect Donald Trump picked to lead his proposed Department of Government Efficiency initiative, DOGE. I don't know what DOGE means, but in general, leaders are very poetic about these names. DOGE. Let's see what DOGE means. Just 1 second. DOGE. DOGE. Nothing. DOGE means nothing. Dukes. Anyway. Both Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy have spoken out in support of the program. Musk, reportedly a former H-1B recipient, suggests that this type of visa, quote, made America strong by attracting foreign talent while vowing to, quote, go to war on this issue, the likes of which you cannot possibly comprehend, end quote. Musk critics say the H-1B program has been of great benefit to his own companies, Tesla and SpaceX, as well as other big US corporations. Writing on X on Thursday, Sanders, a self-described democratic socialist, joined the critics. Quote, Elon Musk is wrong. The main function of the H-1B visa program is not to hire, quote, the best and the brightest, end quote, but rather to replace good paying Americans' jobs with low wage indentured servants from abroad. Yeah, that's capitalism. So I wonder if Donald Trump is better. I guess it is. I guess it is because of exploitation of Americans, isn't it? All these conflicts, I guess they are positive for the future. I mean, the reaction, understand? The BRICS nations are trying to de-dollarize. What about that? De-dollarize. That's just consequences. Sanders noted that from 2022 to 2023, the top 30 largest US companies using the program hire over 34,000 new employees under H-1B, while laying off at least 85,000 American workers. Quote, the H-1B program must be ended, bottom line. It should never be cheaper for a corporation to hire a guest worker from overseas than an American worker, end quote, he said. In 2016, Trump, who is known for his hardline stance on immigration, called the scheme very unfair to American workers and said it should be ended. In late December, however, Trump appeared to have changed his mind and expressed support for the program. Quote, I have many H-1B visas on my properties. I have been a believer in H-1B. I have used it many times. It's a great program, end quote, he said. Asked about the apparent flip-flop, Trump denied that he ever changes his mind, the New York Times reported. Some of Trump's biggest supporters, however, are critical of H-1B. Steve Bannon, a former White House chief strategist under Trump, called the program a scam that benefits Silicon Valley's sociopathic overlords. I know Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon hired Cambridge Analytica, that's what I know, to elect Donald Trump in manipulating the audiences with fake news. Quote, it's disgusting to talk about high-skilled foreign workers while bringing in slave labor, he said. And that's it. I'm going to read again this message. Dear readers, thank you for your vibrant engagement with our content and for sharing your points of view. Please note that we have switched to a new commenting system. To leave comments, you will need to register. We are working on some adjustments, so if you have questions or suggestions, feel free to send them to feedback@rttv.ru. Please check our commenting policy. Happy holidays to you all. Question more. Yeah. I guess I'm going to do it right away. I'm going to sign using Google My email is Alexander Bruletova with double L, Alexander Bruletova, just like the top model, Ala Bruletova. That's it. Hi, Happy New Year. I will tell you, look, Pepe Escobar said Sanders is Atlanticist. Atlanticist. I'm going to say the same thing I told you. I guess there's too much pressure on the senator, on Bernie. That's why he is Atlanticist. That's why he supports NATO. Supports NATO. What about that? And that's it. I just comment on Russia today. I hope get a visa free. I hope to get a visa free from that comment. Hey, and that's it. There's not much. I'm going to see how it's going, how the war in Ukraine is going now. January 3rd, Ukrainian neo-Nazi upset about Russian soldiers on electric scooters. What? Electric scooters. Home Russian former Soviet Union. The notorious Azov unit has run into an unconventional battlefield tactic. Russian assault troops are using electric scooters to swarm Ukrainian trenches. An officer from the notorious Azov neo-Nazi unit has complained to the New York Times in a break account of the battlefield situation published on New Year's Eve. The U.S. newspaper quoted Azov's intelligence chief, Lieutenant Colonel Dmitry Pavlenko Kryzhevsky, who pointed out a new method of attack employed by the Russians. Quote, hitting just one piece of equipment carrying 15 people. Well, that's possible. It can be done quite easily. End quote, he said. But, quote, but when those 15 people are riding electric scooters, then that's a very big problem. End quote. I hope those scooters are not manipulated by, there's not a bomb on them. I have a scooter. I love scooters. I have another channel, Alexander Bruletova. I usually record, and I have another channel. I always Partido Trotskista de Chile, Trotsky's, Chilean Trotsky's Party, Partido Trotskista de Chile. I always record on a scooter. Ukrainian troops have increasingly relied on first-person view, FPV suicide drones to target armored vehicles transporting assault troops. In response, the Russians have utilized motorcycles, bicycles, all-terrain vehicles, and even scooters to disperse and cover ground quickly. Companies train attacks of 150 to 200 men at a time are quite normal for the Russians, who have significant reserves. Pavlenko Kryzhevsky noted. Established as a volunteer unit in 2014 and incorporated into Ukraine's National Guard a year later. Azov infamously uses the Wolfsangel, a room adopted by several German divisions during World War II, including the 2nd SS Panzer Division Das Reich. The unit's co-founder is prominent Ukrainian nationalist and white supremacist Andrei Biletsky. Azov has faced accusations of committing war crimes in Donbass since 2014. Yeah, that was very popular on Russia Today TV. There was a lot of there were a lot of documentaries all day long. I used to like them, and now I guess just on Odyssey. But I never saw Russia Today TV again. That's what I'm doing all this. Because the free world, there's no news for the free world. I mean, there's no free news in the free world. What about that? No free news in the free world. Azov has faced accusations of committing war crimes in Donbass since 2014 and has been formally designated a terrorist organization by Russian authorities, while the original Azov battalion was eliminated in the 2022 Battle of Mariupol. Biletsky raised the third separate assault brigade under the Azov banner in 2023. Ukrainian officers who spoke to the Times could not fully admit that Russian forces have continued advancing along the front line, but they described the situation as dire. Quote, "The question is whether the front line will stabilize," said a major from the 68th Jaguar Brigade, identified only as Taras, who was fighting around Prokrovsk. "Unfortunately, there are no signs of that yet." End quote. Ukraine has struggled to mobilize sufficient forces to hold the front while coping with mass desertions. According to a recent report, at 1,700 members of a brigade trained in France fled without firing a shot. Troop shortages have become so severe that Kiev might be willing to concede to US pressure and lower the draft age to 18, Russian intelligence has said. Yeah, so Russia is waiting. There's Pepe Escobar. Again, you know, Pepe Escobar is like my one of the most famous analysts and one of my favorites, because he talk in Portuguese too. He has a Portuguese channel. I guess I'm going back to Brazil too. Well, there's a news from Kazakhstan. I'm going to read this one and that's it. That will be half an hour. Forbidden news for the free world. I forgot what I said. Yeah, Pepe Escobar said that Russia doesn't want to humiliate Ukraine, or neither Ukraine nor the US, because what Russia really wants is peace. What I really want, what I want is de-dollarization. I don't have any dollar anymore. So let's go. January 3rd again, 2025. Home, Russia and former Soviet Union. Central Asian president reveals advice he gave Trump on Ukraine. Russia is invincible. Kazakhstan's Kassym-Jomart Tokayev told the US president-elect. Yeah, very interesting country, Kazakhstan. It's too cold, it's too cold, but it's very interesting because, as you can see, Kazakhstan president is always talking with everybody. It's like, I don't remember now, but when a river encounter the sea, I don't remember this name, but there's everything there. Salty water, fresh water. It's like Kazakhstan, there's everything there. Capitalism, China, Russia, natural resources, nothing. There's also nothing. There's like horses. Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev told US President-elect Donald Trump that Russia cannot be beaten on the battlefield and that Ukraine's survival hangs entirely on Western aid. The Central Asian leader revealed it in an interview published on Friday by the outlet Anatili. Trump has sought his opinion on the matter during a telephone conversation last month. Tokayev said, quote, "The situation is unique. Russia is militarily invincible, and Ukraine hopes to survive the war with the help of its Western allies, at least not to lose it," end quote, the Kazakh leader explained. Ending the hostilities, quote, depends on the will and desire of the heads of the conflicting countries, and of course Trump himself as the leader of a world power, end quote. The Kazakh president added, while Kazakhstan is, quote, not asking to be mediators anywhere, it is always ready to help in resolving international problems, Tokayev noted. Astana practices a multifaceted foreign policy, but is also firmly committed to developing a strategic partnership in allied relations with Russia, according to Tokayev. He described Russian President Vladimir Putin as an, quote, an experienced statesman, end quote, who, quote, understands the specifics of Kazakhstan, end quote, and also mentioned that the two countries share the longest continuous land border in the world. Tokayev has brought up Russia's military invincibility before. At a meeting of the Astana think tank forum in October, the Kazakh leader said he has shared this view with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Quote, Russia is militarily invincible. This is a fact confirmed by Russia's military potential, the support of the country's population for President Putin's policies, and by history itself, Tokayev said at the time. Wanting to end the conflict through negotiations is not a sign of weakness, but an expression of strategic prudence, end quote. He added at the conference, quote, the alternative is a war of mutual extermination. Perhaps some world powers are interested in this, but this is a path to the abyss, end quote. Trump overwhelmingly won the US presidential election in November while campaigning on ending the Russia-Ukraine conflict within 24 hours. Not much is known about any peace plan he might propose, aside from media speculation. Moscow has voiced readiness to talk and set out in its terms for ending the fighting. Meanwhile, Kiev has insisted on perpetual Western support for its war effort and outlawed any talks with Russian with Russia while Putin is president. And that's pretty much it. Goodbye, Moon and Venus.